JASP education. Dear students, today we are going to see an important subject of CBSE Class 10 Geography, Resource and Development. Before we are going into the lesson, first we are going to see what are the topics or subtopics we are going to see in this lesson. So in this chapter, we are going to see what are resources and the types of resources, maybe in the first video, and then how the resources are developed, what is sustainable development, and regarding sustainable development, what agenda has taken, that is Agenda 21, and how the resource planning is going on in India, how to conserve the resource, how the land is used as a resource, and what is the land use pattern in India, and land degradation and conservation in the video 2. And the third one is soil as a resource. That is an important subtopic, and in that we are going to see about classification of soil, soil erosion and soil conservation. This is part 3 video. So today just we are going to see what is resource. So resource, whatever you are seeing in the world, in the environment, anything or everything is called as resource. But there was some small conditions, that is, it should satisfy the human needs, provided it should be technologically accessible, economically feasible, and culturally acceptable. So finally, everything available in our environment which can be used to satisfy the human needs, provided it is technologically accessible, economically feasible, and culturally accessible, can be termed as a resource. So what is the classification of resources? So classification of resources, when we talk about classification of resources, resources can be broadly classified into 4. One is on the basis of origin, where it is taken from. The second one is on the basis of exhaustibility. And the third one, who is the owner of that resource? So on the basis of ownership. And the fourth one is on the basis of status of development. So let us see in detail. So on the basis of origin, on the basis of exhaustibility, on the basis of ownership, and on the basis of status of development. So these 4 is called the classification of resources. Now let us see the first one is on the basis of origin. Say, talk about this. All living things are known as biotic things. All living things are known as biotic resources. Then all non-living things are known as abiotic resources. The resources which has life is called biotic resources. All living things are known as biotic resources. The example of biotic resources may be flora, fauna, then humans, wildlife and vegetation, aquatic organism, animals, etc. Abiotic resources are called all those things which are made of non-living things like rocks, minerals, etc. So this is on the basis of origin. Then on the basis of exhaustibility, it is divided into 2 called renewable resources and non-renewable resources. Renewable and non-renewable. So what is renewable resources? So resources that can be renewed, maybe called off again, replenished or reproduced by mechanical or chemical process is called renewable resources. The famous renewable resources are solar energy, wind energy, and water. So non-renewable resources, these occur over a very long geological time. Minerals and fossil fuels are the example of such resources. These resources take millions of years. Again, I am telling you, millions of years in their formation. Some of the resources like metals like gold, silver, copper are recyclable. What do you mean by recyclable? So recyclable, again it can be used by recyclable. So on the basis of exhaustibility, it is divided into two. One is renewable resources and another one is non-renewable resources. The third classification of resources may be on the basis of ownership of the resources. See, you are having a car, you are having a bike, you are having a phone, you are having a house, you are having a agricultural land, whatever it is. If it is owned by you or if it is owned by an individual, then it is called as individual resources. See, resources are owned by an individual is called as individual resources. Then the next one is community resources. See, the people are living in a society, in generally living together, and in general we are depending one another. So on the basis of community, or if the resource commonly used by the community or the society, then it may be considered as a community resource. See, resources which belong to a group of people or society or community is called as community resources. Example, park, temple, beach, whatever refreshing things, tourist spots, etc. The third one is national resources. So national resources, from the name itself it is clearly defined that it is owned by the government. So all resources in generally legally belong to the country. The government has the legislative powers to use for the public benefit as well as. So you may have seen roads, canals, railways being established on the fields that are owned by some citizens. For that the government may pay something or give some compensation. So that may be called as national resources. Also, in general, the ocean. See, we are having Indian Ocean, then Arabian Sea, like that. So in that ocean, it is nearby our area, nearby our territory. The first 12 nautical miles may be considered as a national resource. The first 12 nautical miles, that is approximately around 22.2 kilometers. Example of national resources may be rivers, forests, minerals, etc. You see, the Kaveri river is a national resource because it starts from originally from nearby Nilgiri by Tamil Nadu, and it is running through Karnataka, and again it is coming to Tamil Nadu. So this particular rivers, whatever river, it may be Mullai Periyar is source from Kerala and it is running towards Tamil Nadu. Like that, all the rivers, whatever it is flowing through the country is a national resource, and it is not a state resource. Any state may not get a right for anything. So it is a national resource and it is common for all the people. Then comes international resource. So it is an important matter. See, what are all the resources commonly available for all the countries? Maybe the ocean. So ocean is an enormous area. So the first 12 nautical miles may be for that particular country. But the remaining source, maybe the remaining ocean may be considered as a international resource. To take something from that, to do something in that, to use the particular resource, we have to get a consent from the international bodies which are made for that. Without getting consent or without getting permission, we may not use that. So that type of resources are called international resources. Maybe minerals, maybe fisheries. I think you may know about Rameswaram fishermen's going to the Sri Lankan area, like that. So at a part our area has closed. After that only Sri Lankan area coastal is started. So because of the huge population, we are just moving towards Sri Lanka, and automatically we are having problem with that. So international resource is nothing but a resource which may be common for all the countries is called international resources. So the last one is on the basis of status of development. How far it is? What is the status of that resource? So how it is developed? On the basis we can split the resources into four. One is developed resources, and the second one is potential resources, and the third one is stock, and the fourth one is reserve. See, the first one is very simple. There is a resource available in some area, and there is a technology to take out that, and the human being is used that. For example, you take in our area agricultural lands. In agricultural lands, we are having water in the earth that is below the land. So we are having a technology called borewell to take the water out, and we are using for irrigation purpose in agriculture. So that type of resources is called developed resources. Potential resources is somewhat typical. Nothing there is capable of resource in a particular territory or region, but it is we are not. But there is no proven technology to access it. That is a potential resource. So there was a potential for a resource, but it is not technologically accessed. So that may be called potential resource. For an example, we can take solar and wind energy is widely available in the states of Gujarat and Rajasthan, but still we are lagging in using the resource without technology. So that is the potential resource. Stock and resource is almost equally or combined together. But still, stock is a resource that are potentially useful for human needs, but cannot be technologically assessed. So there was a resource, but it is not assessed technologically. So it may be, if we find a technological aspect in future, then it may be used for the human being. So that particular type of resource may be called as stock. Reserve, as I told, it is a subset of stock. It is a subset of stock wherein the resources can be used with the existing technology. So there is a resource and we are using the technology. We are having the technology to assess it, but still we are holding or saving that resource for the future purpose. That is called reserve. So we are reserving some resources for the future resource, future need. So for example, more rivers can be used to generating electricity. So the example, rivers are available even in the rivers we can generate electricity, but still we have the technology to take electricity from the rivers, but still we are holding that for the future purpose. So that is on the basis of status of development, this is resource. So on the basis of status of development, there are four types. One is developed resources and the potential resources, and the third one is stock, and the fourth one is resource. So just I'll recap what is resource. Resource is nothing but everything available in the environment which satisfy the human needs is called as resources, provided it should be technologically accessible, economically feasible, and culturally acceptable. These are termed as resource. The classification of resource, if we talk about classification of resource, so it is on the basis of origin, it is biotic and abiotic, and if on the basis of exhaustibility, it is called as renewable resources and non-renewable resources. On basis of the ownership resources, it is considered as individual resource, community resource, national resource, and international resources. And on the basis of status of development, it is considered as the developed resources, potential resources, stock, and resource. So this is about the classification of resources. Rest of the things we will see in the next video. Before that, a kind request to you, kindly subscribe our channel, like our channel and share our channel. Thank you.